I'm not mistaken, Roger and Eric are you both in LA?
Yes.
Yep. And Tim is in Atlanta. So congratulations on volume 2 of your series of EPs.
Thank you.
And of course, the Lickerish Quartet is indeed 3 people. Of course. So there you go. Yes. So my understanding is that you're attempting, you'd like to see a kind of a difference in musicality between the various series of EPs. So how would you, for folks who are just getting their heads around this new one, how would you describe it to them?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, having the 3 EPs be substantially and distinctly different from each other is not intentional at all. That's not some kind of artistic strategy. We came up with 20 song ideas that we were all very excited to explore, and that got whittled down to 12. And they don't just sit in the same tempo and the same rock pop feel for 12 songs. As much fun as that can be on a Ramones record, that's not what we were interested in doing. So they just got coupled in a fairly loose way. Sometimes they ended up on an EP simply because they were closer to the finish line than another song that we also adore but haven't completed yet. So,
gotcha. And the 4 songs that comprise this one, are they recorded under lockdown conditions, or did you have them done before that?
Some of them were. I mean, we had done all the basic tracks to everything in Los Angeles starting in 2017, but a lot of the overdubs and some of the vocal things were finished off for this EP remotely, and we're all kind of sitting in the spaces where we did that.
Right.
So, it took a little bit longer to get that finished, and then the mixing process had its own circumstances. Roger, our mixer, is in LA, but they were doing sort of remote listening where he could send the mixes to Roger's studio and he could hear them on his studio and they could make notes. But it was, it's kind of like this where people are trying to talk over each other and the thing, I mean, it's great. We can do this. This is awesome, but it's got its limitations.
Definitely. Yes, indeed. And so I know you guys have been working together for a long time in various incarnations all the way back to Jellyfish. Does the way you work now differ much from how you started out working together?
Part of the joy of this project is that we didn't get much of a chance to work together in Jellyfish when the 3 of us were together. We toured a lot together. We shared a lot of drinks and fine Thai and Indian meals. But the actual fun of collaborating on a song and going through the ups and downs of that and all the challenges of that, but you believe in the artwork, we didn't get to share that. I mean, obviously Eric and I did for Imperial Drag, but I mean, we've got 12 songs in development. 8 of them now are with the public. So it's been quite an undertaking from the beginning to this point, like any real band will go through.
Yep. So did you have to kind of define who does what, work out how the process is working between the 3 of you?
No, thankfully. I think it's another reason we were eager to get together, because it's like, okay, there's no lead singer, there's no producer, there's no main songwriter, we each kind of, I mean, we can each kind of play everything. Obviously, some of us have better skill sets in different areas, but I mean, it was really a team effort in that, and we allowed ourselves. There's no right way to get to the finish line. We've tried to honor what the song has been asking for, allowing the song to be and flourish in the way it wants to. So that's going to inform the lyric and the bass part and the background vocals and everything, and the engineering strategy. So it's I love that process. I wish that was my full-time job, because I learned so much about how to capture, what's in here artistically into the computer and not lose the essence of it in the process.
Gotcha. Now, one of the songs, the final song on the EP called Snollygoster Goon, And of course, I had to Google snollygoster, and I found out that one of the definitions of it is it's an unprincipled politician, which seems to be rather timely
Redundant?
these days. So give me the background on where you discovered the word and how the song came about.
Well, that was from Roger had brought that song to the table musically originally to us, and I didn't, it has that punk angst, and, it had to be an edgy sort of subject. And I thought, oh, well, why not? Let's write something at least quasi-political, but it's not really a political song in any, it's related to politics, but it really has to do with human nature, corruption and greed, and all of these themes that have permeated throughout history, quite fascinating and interesting. So to me, I'm like a William Shatner sort of lyric writer sometimes. I'm looking for a shock value.
Right.
And certain words will do that. And that's kind of the music inspired me to set my brain in that direction.
Right. So you weren't thinking politically when you were making the record. Are you kind of thinking about how people are going to perceive it now that it's out and all the stuff is going on in the States at the moment?
Well, we have no control over that, no matter what song you're talking about.
We could start a conspiracy theory that you do.
Yeah, right. No, right. How many love songs of the three of us written lyrically, and so they get reinterpreted into all kinds of fantastical stuff, and you have no control over that whatsoever. I think Eric should be given some kind of award for this lyric in particular, in the fact that he has such specific illustration with the wordplay and his word choice, but yeah, he's not calling any particular entity or organization, past or present, out. And like you said, it's whether you're talking about politics or just business or day-to-day interaction between human beings. You can have greed, corruption, and all kinds of 7 deadly sins simply within a platonic relationship.
Yep.
Excuse me for a second.
That's one of the reasons I enjoy the way Snollygoster came out, because initially I can remember when Tim and I were in the studio and Eric presented the lyric in its raw form, the essential basics of it, and we were just like having so much fun just trying to get all the words out of our mouth as we're reading through it. We hadn't even connected, how the hell is this going to be sung,
right?
And is this going to be an asset to this body of music that we've created? But we were terribly excited by the prospect of it succeeding, and set out to do that. And then as Eric refined the lyric, it all just started falling into place. And it's really exemplary. Is that the word? Of the three of us, and our personalities coming together. It was almost like the song was already headed in this direction musically, and Eric's lyric kind of put the frosting on this cake that was already being built.
Right.
But really certified it for. I always have to remember that 90% or more of our fan base and those we hopefully gather in the future are not musicians. They're not analyzing these songs and judging them the way I as a musician might, or as the way our engineer might,
right,
et cetera, et cetera.
And I see you've made a video for the song as well, with marionettes and stuff flying around. It's pretty cool. So where did the idea for that come from?
I've been doing a lot of the social media stuff, so I've kind of found all these oddball sites where you can download clips of stuff, and we all have this affinity for anything with. You can make a puppet just work.
Right.
It's hard to not enjoy puppets and puppetry. And so the artistic value goes pretty far on a small dime. So that's kind of where we went with all that.
Very cool. Very cool. So, the 4 songs that are on the EP, do you guys all write them together? Are there ones that are more Eric, more Roger, more Tim? How would you?
Well, I think we all brought in certain ideas to some level of completion, but we all added our bits and pieces, and we just never even considered, oh, this is Eric's song so much as it's Tim's song or whatever. But I mean, obviously, ones that Eric sings, he has more to do with, and same with me and Roger. So, but we really set out to just not have any rules about that. And I think because we've also had a history of working with other musicians and just being sidemen and stuff, the democratic process was fully alive. And it wasn't even like Roger's going to do this and Eric's going to do this on instruments. It was like, what do you guys think? And they would go away and come up with these amazing parts that weren't just defined by them as guitar players or keyboard players or vocalists. So
Right. Gotcha. And so it opens with a song called "Do You Feel Better?" So can you guys give me a little background on that one?
that was my idea first when I brought it in, just a little guitar lick. And then Roger brought some other music to it and stuff. Eric created some amazing guitar sonic things. And it was written about a time when I was playing with Noel Gallagher, and my wife and I were in London to go to a party an after party. And as you can imagine, Noel Gallagher's got quite a few folks in his entourage that are of partying type or whatever. And so we were at this London soiree, and my wife, who is English, but she was sort of from the country or whatever, was suddenly surrounded by all these people kind of offering her everything and telling her how beautiful she was and just being
Right.
poked and prodded. And it was sort of my watching all this going on was like, these are these little devils or are they angels? I don't know. We couldn't tell. It was hard to figure it out. So it's all about that kind of holding those two things in your life, about what's good and what's bad. Is something bad for you now going to give you some goodness? So it's playing on that.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I think it's a good example of, we all seem to work this way primarily. Maybe Tim and I more than Eric, but the lyrics are done so late in the game. You always kind of know loosely where you're headed thematically.
Right.
And so the music can help inform that, but really it's kind of like everything's blurry, and then you put on your glasses when the lyrics complete, and you go, oh, okay, and the whole thing locks into place. And that really happened for me when Tim finalized the lyric for "Do You Feel Better" and performed it and so forth, because there were many things like the very surreal intro. There's a very surreal third verse, and moments throughout the song that just take it out of, I mean, it even adds a level of psychedelia to it, but take it out of the very straight up folk core that the song is. And I was very happy with how that all came out as an extension of what the lyric is delivering.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, and I get one of the terms that comes up when people describe the kind of music that you guys make is power pop. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Go ahead, Eric.
I don't pay attention to any genre labeling ever. I just, it works for some people.
Right.
Yeah, I was actually with a friend yesterday. We work at this food bank thing in Watts. I won't bore you with that story, but we only ever see each other once a week. And shouting through our masks and hauling these groceries around to be delivered, he had his little pocket speaker and was blasting. He goes, "Oh, well, do you know this band from Australia and this band?" And he played me this group that some of you may know from the late 70s called The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And I was not familiar with them. I knew plenty of Radio Birdman-esque
Right.
groups. There had been so much great music that most Americans don't know about from Australia, except maybe the 4 people on this call. And I'd not heard of The Boys. And he looks at me and he goes, now this is power pop.
Right.
And he likes all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
But I went, yeah, he's 100% right. If you're gonna lump a sound and put a genre stamp on it, that's what it is. And I'm sitting there going, as he was telling that to me and enjoying the new music that I hadn't heard, I was like, Jellyfish has nothing to do with this sound. Imperial Drag has nothing to do with this sound. TV Eyes has nothing to do with this, and it's not here nor there, because all the people in those bands I just mentioned, we did listen to plenty of power pop.
Yeah.
But that kind of very small square of what is the definitive, that kind of sound, it's a very brief period on the rock and roll history timeline. Yeah.
I think what possibly links you to that is your sense of melody.
I get that. And that's not a bad thing.
No, definitely not. I just got through watching a documentary about the Bee Gees. In fact, Noel Gallagher was in it briefly. So, and that's, I mean, if you think about the Bee Gees, the one thing, they did all sorts of different types of music, but the sense of melody that permeated through everything they did was unique to them. Definitely.
Gorgeous.
Well, then they're power pop. Yeah. Oh, wait, disco? Wait.
Yeah.
Exactly. So do you guys perform live, or is this a studio only configuration?
No, we're the only band during COVID that has been performing live.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Our first concert is in New Zealand.
Well, it should be.
Where you're allowed to do that.
You just have to be in lockdown for 2 weeks, and then you can do whatever you want.
Does Neil still have that club there, that little place down the alleyway, Tabac? Is that still a place?
I walked past there the other day. I think it was open, but I hadn't been there for a long time, and I haven't heard of anything really happening there. So it still exists.
That would be the size place I think we could probably afford to play if we could come.
All right.
visit.
Well,
It's about as big as this room, but it's a delightful place. I had many a good time there.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. And when was the last time you spoke to Neil?
Actually, our last correspondence, I saw him with Fleetwood Mac here in Atlanta, and then I spoke to him via email recently because a good dear friend of ours, Bones Hillman, had passed away, the bass player from Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
And Bones had lived with Neil and Sharon for a long time. Bones had moved to Nashville for a time, and he befriended me through Neil, and we would hang out and say, well, what a lovely guy. And I just was shocked and devastated to hear that he had passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame. Yeah. I mean, everybody's getting older, and like I said, we're celebrating the 5th anniversary of David Bowie's death here this weekend. And it's still hard to believe.
I still can't believe that. My wife woke me up that morning, and that's the most shell shocked I've been, I think, since 9/11 almost, as odd as that is to say, and probably not fair to, but it struck me so emotionally, I couldn't believe it.
That last record is incredible, man.
It's a way to go out, man.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. It's so cool. It really is.
I remember the day that I learned that he passed away. I could hear that saxophone riff in my head throughout every time I walked outside. It seemed like he was everywhere. But there you go.
Yeah. What a way.
So this is volume 2. When can we expect volume 3? And give me a little preview about that. Is it in the works? Is it almost done?
We're wrapping our head around promoting volume 2 properly, and as trying to learn things from the release of EP number 1.
Right.
Certainly from a business and fan engagement side of things. We had a miscellaneous shuffling to our business and promotional situation behind the scenes.
Yep.
The point of which is that more responsibility fell into our own lap and some other people we've chosen to work with. Yeah. So it's almost like we we finally finished all the mixing on EP number 2. And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we actually, here it is, here,
Yeah.
And then this whole other whirlwind hurricane of, okay, yeah, but now you have to get it to the public properly and all that. And we're still in the throes of that and what that looks like. And don't screw it up.
I think despite that, these days musicians trying to get new music out, and you can't go out and support it by playing live in any capacity, really. It's just such a free for all. You know, we're just trying to stay positive and creative. I think that's the thing that will get us through this. And so
I mean, it seems like every day the bar everything changes. It's like one minute you have to do everything on Spotify, and oh, now we all hate Spotify. We're gonna do it on Bandcamp. Well, we'll do it on Facebook. I mean, you know.
Well, our main goal in doing this was to make enough money that we could just continue doing it. Obviously, we'd like to do more than that, but our main goal is that. And if we can do that, which we've been able to do so far, however that shakes out, I feel like if we all can just stick around and be creative and put music out, we'll be okay. But it's getting harder and harder, I have to say.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh dear. Well, thank you guys for getting together and talking to me. It's been a real thrill. I've been a fan for a long time. I got my old Jellyfish CD sitting.
Very nice.
I used to have one. I think I got a promo thing where it was in a plastic in water, floating around, and it.
I have one of those.
So I can't tell from the your backdrop, but is that a bookshelf, a vinyl shelf, a CD
Those are
shelf?
records. As a matter of fact, when you're talking to me about the boys, I can't wait to go. I think I got the album, so I'm gonna play it as soon as we're done.
As he told me, he said this is their. He says it's a later record for them. It's their third album. They were much less angry little punks and decided to share their soft side a little bit more. But it sounded like I would like everything that they've done.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I mean, I think I bought the album back in like 1979, but we'll see. We'll revisit it. Very cool. Well, hopefully you guys can get out and play some gigs sometime soon. It's not looking particularly great at the moment, but we're here in New Zealand if you need us.
How do you feel about sponsoring us to live down there? Can you do that for us?
I got plenty of room.
Yeah.
We have bands play up here all the time.
Wow.
Right. Maybe I can live with Princess Chelsea if you could ask her.
Sure. I see her down at the record store down the street quite often, so it's not a problem. Everybody knows everybody here. We can't get off the island, so we're stuck together.
Right. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell her you said hi. We'll see how that goes. But so, gentlemen, have a nice day. Thank you again, and good luck.
You too, Marty.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice
Bye.
meeting you.
Bye.
Bye.